Hey YouTube, what's up? Asian Trigger here. So I was asked a question about Narukami's, and so I was gonna answer it, start poking some holes in it. I guess I call this like holes in Narukami's, I don't know. Defeating Narukami's, whatever you want to call it. I don't have much Narukami cards. I took a look at a deck list and I pretty much went through some of the cards that I have that were in that deck list, and all I have is the Fiendish Sword Cho, and then like, let's see, his name is like Deletion, Memoir, Blood, and Iron, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, so I'm just looking at a deck profile right now. Pretty much a average of what I've seen in the meta over here in Japan, and like what's been topping in the tournaments and whatnot. A funny thing that my tournament, I didn't see any Narukami's. Most of it was Azel and Link Joker now. Link Joker's a pretty big thing now. I think it might take over and take the place of. It might just take over and take the place of, you know, what Narukami is and other decks. But people starting to get over the fear of Narukami's, and they start to understand them and start to beat them because it's Narukami's. Before, Narukami's weren't that great either. They did do a lot of damage, and they did top in tournaments too, but they were just like all the other decks that were top every once in a while. Now all the other decks are starting to catch up and make their way there too, and they're starting to get a grasp of how the game works, and the other clans are starting to catch up too. Now let's get into this Narukami deck. A lot of it is like the grade 0s and 1s, and a lot of the pieces in the deck are pretty much the same as the other decks as well. For example, Rising Phoenix or other copies of that, like the Penguin and Aqua Force, and then there's their basic Null Guards, and then you have your, you know, the normal, the regular, not really regular normal. It's more like you always have these in there because a lot of people have been playing them. They're your 10k grade 1s. Reason for those are because they can swing it, like early game they can swing for 10k, which is really, really good. Also, for most Narukami decks, they have these guys in there. If you can't see, it's a Eradicator, like Blood and Iron. I'm not sure what the name is, but something like that. I'm just looking at the website and it's like terrible translation. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, what these guys do pretty much is like whenever you would, during your turn, whenever you would like retire one of your opponent's rear guard or something like that, then he would get 3,000 boost. He's pretty good. So you don't have to worry about him much because your main purpose, if you stop them from getting their power boost, and by like doing the right tactics that I'm going to tell you about in this video, then you'll be able to stop that, and he won't get to his 10k. He'll just be at the regular 7k that he is, like all the other units. And then there's like, they have their Eradicator Ceremonial, whatever it is, that chick, that whenever she's played and your opponent has more rear guards than you, then your opponent will be able to like cycle pretty much. A lot of decks have something like her. Like I know for sure Angel Feathers has Yukon, and what she does, if you have Zerachiel in your damage zone, then you can cycle. That's what it is pretty much. Now this is where it really starts. This is where you really need to start playing so that you can beat Narukami's. It starts as soon as you hit your grade 2s, because most time they'll be running their 9k that can change to a 12k beater if you have an Eradicator on your side of the field or something like that. That'll most likely be their Vanguard if they can. But other than that, they'll have like Dragonic Death Scythe, and then the Fiendish Sword, Cho. So the Spark Rain Dragon, you don't have to worry much about him because every deck is going to be running that 9-12k beater. But like I said, I was talking about this to somebody on the North American Facebook group. There's a difference between these special, like I don't know, like archetype, I guess you can call it, a subtype, as opposed to like those specific, like they have a certain name for a Vanguard and then they get like an extra 3k boost. There's a difference between those and these ones, because these ones, they just require you to have that certain like Eradicator or Celestial, some stuff like that. So which is so much better than what it usually would be. So like I said, At grade 2 is when you need to start combating and being active against these Narukamis. You start with the Dragonic Death Scythe and the Cho. What you do is you start you want to deal them 2 damage early game, and then put something out there and bait it so that they have to use that resource to kill that thing off. If Cho will kill it off, that's great. That's 1 card out of the hand that they can't use for Dragonic Death Scythe. Not Dragonic Death Scythe, Dragonic Descendant. And then if Dragonic Death Scythe uses his skill and pops one of your vanguards, that's good too, because that takes off away from them using their Buster Dragon and boosting that Buster Dragon up a butt ton. Get it? Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much start early game. You have to be able to combat it early game and just get rid of it. Make sure that they use that to get rid of resources. If they can't, then this is where you just need to start playing the right way. In Japanese meta right now, Dragonic Descendant is at 2, so he won't be out as much as as Buster Dragon. But the thing is, with Dragonic Descendant, he can stand. He's pretty busted and broken too. You just need to make sure that you're being a little bit aggressive too, so he won't have enough cards in his hand to use Dragonic Descendant's skill when the time comes for that. But a lot of times, if they have 3 cards in the hand, they will be using Dragonic Descendant. So you just need to be careful of that and make sure you can keep them busy with their hand. That way you can prevent Dragonic Descendant from going off. And then there's Buster Dragon. With Buster Dragon, it requires Counterblast for him to get boosted. And whenever he retires something, he gets extra 3k and critical. Best way to counter this, they're going to get it off at least once. So just go ahead and let them do it, but restrict it to where they can only get off once, not like 2 times, you know. And always save a Null Guard for that. Null Guard will always work against Buster Dragon. It will work against a lot of Vanguards too. But if you Null Guard a Buster Dragon, there's a really good chance that they won't be able to do it next turn. It's kind of like when you're facing an Ezel, right? When you're facing an Ezel, a lot of people will throw out a Null Guard against Ezel when he gets really big and uses his Counterblast 2 to call a unit. When Buster Dragon uses his skill, you just need to be careful and make sure you're conserving enough so you can guard him the next turn. Because you can always predict that they're going to use Buster Dragon, especially if you've been playing for a long time. Now, there's also another grade 2 that they use, and it's pretty dangerous too when they get it. It's pretty much part of the break ride. So you just need to be careful for Eradicator's Bowing Dragon. There's really no way you counter him because he's a break ride. But a lot of times people use him. Hold on a second. Let me read into it, see if there's anything else I can tell you about him. Because as far as I know, he's just a break ride that would retire, and that would boost your Buster Dragon too. And again, for the Buster Dragon, you can just Null Guard that, and then they're like, oh crap, what now? So yeah, that's all he does really. He won't do much more. There's no Counter Blast involved. So yeah, Valiant Dragon is just a little tool to get Buster Dragon really beefy and stuff. So yeah, just rate, comment, subscribe, you know. Keep asking me questions. I've been getting a lot of really good questions, so yeah, there you go. That was for Miles Edgeworth. Peace out.